So many of you might have been wondering, where the heck is this girl and where was her Sydney Grace mystery bag content, mystery box content for this year, since I did boxes instead. Okay, so we are going to talk about that. We are going to put on a couple Sydney Grace items, and we're going to chat a little bit about life all together. So buckle up, get ready. There's no drama here. There's nothing like that. That will never be me. But I just wanted to kind of give you guys a little update, talk to you about like my experience with what I decided to do with Sydney Grace this year and all of that. But I know that for many years now in the past, I have done a little review and try on of at least 3 of the bags / boxes at a time, and that just didn't happen this year. In fact, I am late to the game on just sharing with you what I did get, and part of that is because I did not realize that I had my Sydney Grace order sent to my salon, and so it was in my salon mailbox, which I'm really bad about checking the mail for in my like little actual box. And I opened it the one day and I was like, oh, there's where my Sydney Grace is. I just was like, I'm sure they were like inundated, you know, the pallets sold out, and so I was just like, they're just busy. It's cool. None of this was like a need to have right now, and I was not really sweating it, but it was probably in there for a few days before I ever got it out. How's that for an intro? But if we haven't met before, my name is Kelly and I'm a professional hair and makeup artist, and here on my channel I strive to keep beauty real. Real honest, real relatable, and real fun. So if that sounds like something you'd enjoy, don't forget to click subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. All right. Let's go ahead and dive in. I do have a few things to share with you that I did pick up in the sale. I did shop the sale. I did not get any of the mystery bags, and I had shared in my little like looking at the sale, talking about my faves, all of that. I was like, I really want the cream bag. I want the cream bag, but I might wait for another day to try to get it in the sale. And that bag, the light creams, which is what I had planned on picking up, that one sold out like the day of. I have to say, well, I don't know if the brand did less this year. That could be. I mean, just because they sold out, it doesn't mean like they were busier, right? We don't know the numbers on that. But if it was because they were busier, good for them. I'm excited because the deep cream bag did also sell. Because then I was like, well, when I do get ready for the day I'm going to do, then maybe I'll just do the deep instead. Like, that's fine. I really like pigmented products. It'll be good. And then that one was sold out. So what I ended up doing was I purchased on the creams day because I knew that I wanted to get some cream shadows. Are you shocked? Probably not. And I decided to pick up one of the new shades of the bronzer, and I also got a highlight. So we have 3 cream eyeshadows and the bronzer and a highlight to use today, and I'm really excited. I have not worn any of these yet. We're gonna swatch these out. I am going to pull out the other bronzers that I have just to compare to this one, because if you know, I love the formula of this, but I felt like the original 2 that they launched were a miss. A big miss, and not a big miss, a miss. This isn't gonna work for most people kind of miss. And so I'm really excited to try this one out today. And we're gonna put on some cream shadow, which always makes it a good day. All right, so let's go ahead and zoom in. So as I'm digging for my other Sydney Grace bronzers, I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're having a great summer. I have to say this is a summer of lots of work and, you know, a little bit of relaxation time for me this year. So I'm enjoying that. I would say it's been a busier work summer, but also trying to be okay with when I have some time off, with having it be a little bit of downtime. And like, it's okay if, you know, there's a little bit of dust in the house, right? Like, although I will say with the weather here in Wisconsin recently, there has been nothing better to do than clean the house because it's so hot. It's been so hot. It's either been sticky and humid, which is not my vibe. Grew up in Arizona, no thank you. Or it's been crazy with mosquitoes, and I'm not about that life either. So I'm very glad to be heading to the desert in a few days for work. Like, no mosquitoes, no humidity. I don't even care if it's gonna be 115 degrees. Don't even care, it's gonna be dry. All right, so I'm gonna swatch out what I got for my bronzer. Now, I picked up the shade Sugar and Spice. I think this was listed as a neutral, which is what I'm hoping for. I will say I'm enjoying this new packaging. I don't know if they're doing it just for the bronzers or if they're doing it for the cream products in general. So this is the new, and this is the previous bronzer. we've got like the little signature sort of like rose gold vibe. Very nice, a beautiful little upgrade. Are these the same? Yep, still 5 grams. All right, so I got Sugar and Spice. Now, these shades did not come out like right for this sale, not for the Christmas and July sale. They have been out for a little bit, I'm pretty sure, and I just did not want to do an order to purchase one bronzer. Like, that just isn't worth it for the shipping for me. So what I'm going to do is I am going to put down the shade Apple Cake, and I'm just going to do hand swatches. I'm going to put down the shade Apple Cake, which is definitely more of a cool toned, almost like rosy bronzer, I would say. And then on the other side, I'm going to do Bon Bon, which is a very golden, dare I say, I don't really want to say, it's like, I mean, it's a little bit orangey. It's a little bit orangey. I'm gonna say orangey. Yes, I am. And then I'm going to put Sugar and Spice right in the middle. Now, I love this formula because it's nice and emollient. I'm gonna try to like put a little bit of a good rub into this because this new one is feeling more emollient than the others. And so I'm just wondering if that's like, you know, shipping kind of the, like, if anything's like separated slightly. Oh my gosh, I should have probably left a little bit more space. Okay. I also was not sure because I think that they had done maybe 2 shades and I didn't want something too deep, but I didn't know if this one was going to be too light. Okay, so here we have, this is the shade Apple Cake. And so I think you can see here, especially on my olive skin, how rosy that looks. Like that is very much like mocha mousse color right there. So you definitely have a bit of a rosy hue to it. This is the new one that I got. This is Sugar and Spice. This one down here is Bon Bon, which, I mean, even on my olive skin, like this looks very, very orange. I'm just gonna say it looks orange. This is also quite a bit lighter. So I'm gonna be curious to see what this looks like on the skin. I do also think that this will be a nice, I could like mix the two if I really wanted to, just to like make it a little bit more neutral. I'm gonna use my pinky over here to mix these two. That would be nice. And then I'm gonna use my thumb to mix these two. I accidentally, don't look at this one. Don't look, I mean, this shows you nothing. I accidentally mixed the really warm and the really cool right there, but, which, by the way, that is actually a way that I was using these because it does sort of make a bit more of like a neutral, is mixing the really cool and the really warm, but I'm very excited to try this one. If it's deep enough, I think it's going to be very pretty. So I'm really very excited. I'm also very messy, so let me take care of that. You know what is so funny? I have Jet here. Well, technically not now. I had Jet in here with me. He usually likes to come in and hang out if he's allowed. And I find though that once I start getting very chatty, he is like, I just need to go take a nap, Mom. Like you and your makeup chatter. Just let me be. So he's left. He's over in the office now. I heard him crawl up onto, we have one of those like big, huge beanbag loungers. And I heard him, he's like, I'm gonna go get on. He thinks it's his dog bed, of course, so. And we kind of like let him enjoy that life. Now, I will also say that this did come with one of these little stoppers. These two don't have a stopper over them, but that very well could be because I pitched them out. Because just one more step, I would rather, honestly, and I know this is just gonna make me sound like a spoiled little butthead, but like I would rather something dry out a little sooner than me have to take the time to like take a little stopper off all the time off of stuff. So that's my vibe on that. It's like all the little like putsy little things you have to do. I'm not interested in that. So usually I end up taking these off. I'm gonna leave it on for now though. I'm gonna leave it on for now. So let's go ahead and just dive into this. I am going to use the brush that I've been using for a lot of my cream bronzer right now. And that's the BK Beauty 108. I was going to say 103. It's just my blind eyes that we're going to say 103. It's the 108. So I'm just going to dip in a little bit. And what I usually do is pop in a little bit. This is usually fairly pigmented. If I'm worried about it, I'll just swirl it into the cap to really get it into the bristles. But since this isn't a super dark one, I think we'll be okay. I'm just going to pop a little Oh yeah, okay, I'm feeling good about this. Feeling good about this, everybody. So I just took the tiniest little bit, and my little baby hairs right now are really living their best life. Last night we went to the dog park with Jet, and you know, earlier in the day when it was crazy hot, it at least was not very humid. And so I had said to Jeremy, I'm like, I think it's actually going to be nice enough to take Jet out for a good walk, a run around, a little socialization with some other dogs. And when we left, it had already started getting so much more humid, which also, with the cool down and the humidity, it made the mosquitoes come out in droves. And my hair, for those of you that don't know, my hair is naturally fairly wavy, and especially now that you can't really see it right now, but I do have my rosy, peachy, pinky vibe going on. It is a little bit more peachy this time. I wanted something just a little bit warmer. But anyway, I have my hair re-highlighted and with my rosy, peachy tones again. And that just means it gets even more big because my hair is just more expanded. And let me tell you, we weren't even at the dog park for 10 minutes, and I could just feel my hair growing. I luckily had a hair tie in my purse because it was like, okay, I'm gonna scare people. I'm going to scare people. So I tied it back. But now all my little teeny tinies are living their life. They're really going for it. Okay, I have to say I really like this. This to me is exactly, and I could definitely add more if I really wanted to, but when I'm just looking to add warmth to my skin, and that's really what I'm looking for with this. This isn't like a contour. If I was going to contour, I think that they had something that was a decent bit cooler that I maybe could have used. This shade, you'd think like, oh, maybe the apple cake. It's still rosy. It's sort of like a blush bronzer combo in that like rosy mocha-y shade. It doesn't really work for that. But this just sort of warms everything up nicely. Okay, I'm so glad. I was not sure which shade to get, but I think that this is going to be nice. And because these do blend out so beautifully, I think I will still be just fine with this in the wintertime. Did I need another cream bronzer? No. Am I glad to have this one now? Yes. Will I probably get rid of one of these two Sydney Grace shades now that I have a shade that I really like? Probably. By the way, I believe that I got these in my mystery bags. I'm pretty sure that's how that worked. In the light creams and the dark creams bags, I would not be surprised. So very happy with this. Okay. I am going to need a little bit of blush before we put on our highlight, and I did not purchase a new Sydney Grace blush because I have quite a few. So let's just go ahead and pull one of those out. I was really proud of myself for that because I very easily could have. And the highlighter that I got is sort of on the, I would say, gold side. So I want to pull out something warm. Am I gonna go for it with Petunia? I mean, that's real warm. Let's just do it. Why not, right? Now is the time. Summer, we're gonna go for it. So because this one is so pigmented, I'm gonna use my brush in the way that I was talking about with the bronzer. I'm gonna go through with the 109. Just love this brush. I'm gonna take a little bit of this because here's what happens. So sometimes when you dot into a bin like that, can you see? If I were to go right now with this and go on, bad things might happen. So I'm just gonna take this brush and sort of swirl it around in the cap. That's gonna take off a bit of the excess of product, but also redistribute this into the brush a bit better. So you're gonna be less likely to have like blotchy blush or hard to blend out areas that got really saturated. And I mean, I have the tiniest bit on here now. These cream products from Sydney Grace are very, very pigmented. I can probably just take a little bit of what I just pushed into the cap. This is also how I use my Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin as well, because those are also very pigmented. Less emollient and creamy, but very pigmented. Oh. See? I mean, I could probably, like, I could put this in my will to my non-existent grandchildren because I'm going to use so little of this product ever. Should we pop a little bit on the lips? I don't think I've done that before with these, and I think I did ask them if you would be able to, and I think they said sure, that wouldn't be a problem. So I'm gonna wipe some of this lip treatment off, and I'm gonna pop some of this on my lips. And again, this is the shade Petunia. I think that this is a permanent shade. I don't think that this came in my bag. Now, the only thing about using something in this way is that I would be pretty unlikely to take this to work with me and like touch it up throughout the day. So this would be great for just like, you know, when you know you're just gonna like need it for a while and you won't need a touch up. But oh, that's pretty. That is really pretty. It's fairly like satin matte, which is interesting because they're not matte products. I think my lips right now might just be a little dry. What happens if we like build it up just a little bit more? Yeah, it feels creamy on the lips. Not as creamy as a cream or a satin lipstick, but not as matte as a matte lipstick. Okay, Petunia for the win. All right, I'm digging this. I am digging this. So now we can go through with the highlight. And I was just looking, I've been getting into a highlight on the skin again, but in an effortless, glowy, creamy kind of way. If I'm gonna use a powder, it has to be something very, very thin, like a gelée, something like the RMS Prosecco shade. What is that? The Hydra Dew Luminizer, something like that. But I wanted something that's like more gold. So I saw that they have the shade Heart of Gold. Again, this is not a new one. I think when I saw these, I was like, wow, this is a really pretty one. And I have to say, they launched some pretty intense shades in this, things that I think would probably only work on like medium to deep skin, which is great. I love seeing that. But I was like, wow, could I get away with that shade as like a glowy blush? And I was like, no. Nope, I think that would just look like straight up copper on me. So I went with Heart of Gold. I'm just gonna take a little bit out of the cap here because it did end up kind of like getting in here. So we're gonna take this shade and I'm just gonna use my fingers. Like, cream and liquid highlight is sort of one of the few products that I ever like using my fingers for typically. It's so funny, but I just think that it's a great way to use your body heat to sort of like press into the skin. I totally just went higher onto like my under eye than I had anticipated. This is what happens sometimes when you talk and apply makeup at the same time. But I mean, can you see how bold you can get that? Like, that's like intense, and I did not have that much on my face. So I'm just gonna go through, tap that out really nicely to blend it. I do always avoid putting much that's glowy right here just because my pores are a bit larger right there, but I'm gonna take whatever is left on my fingers and just run that under the brow bone. All right, I have to say, I feel like a bronze goddess right now. I feel like a little extra glowy, but I'm gonna be okay with it. It's the summer vibe, right? So I'm very happy. I'm very happy so far. I'm probably going to be very happy with these cream shadows. So let me swatch them out. Now, one of these is a brand new shade. One is, I think, somewhat new, and one, I'm not even sure. I was just going through the site and I was like, how do I not have that shade? So I'm gonna swatch these out and we will choose one to put on. Okay, so if for some reason you are new to my channel, you've never seen any of my Sydney Grace content, I'm just gonna say I am absolutely in love with these. The Sydney Grace cream shadows are one of my favorite products to use, and it is something that I have been using a lot this summer because they're so pigmented. A little bit goes a long way. They blend out really nicely and they last all day. They are not waterproof, but let me tell you, they are very long wearing. So we have 3 shades here. The first, I'm gonna just show you how little I have right here on, just so you can see how pigmented they are. The first shade we have at the top is the one that I knew that I wanted to get. Oh my gosh, this is so pretty. This is Cinnamon Blaze, is that right? Yes, Cinnamon Blaze. I also have to say that, do you prefer the, I guess it's a question, do you prefer the shade label on the bottom or on the actual tube? Let me know if you have a lot of these. I prefer it on the bottom because I store them like this so that things don't get clogged in the cap. And 2 of them were on the tube and 1 was on the cap. I was like, I don't know what they're doing over there, but it was kind of funny. So this is a very pretty shade. Then we have the shade Invigorate. And I was like, I don't know how I don't have this shade. I'm like, this feels like something that I would be likely to have. And I had to literally go through my collection because I was like, no, I don't think I do. And then the bottom one is the newest one, and this is Royalties. This is one of the ones that they launched for this sale. Oh my gosh. Okay, so Oh my gosh. Okay. So, so pretty. So Royalties, now I have to say this is sort of like the cream version of my shade Virgo from Pretties for Your Face. It's that beautiful, like neutralized, it's a little bit rose gold, but it's a little bit brown. It's a little mocha-y. So yummy. And then the next one, Invigorate. Now I think I'm going to do another swatch of it because it could just be that I was yammering on while I was talking to you and then it started to get a little dry. But while it's not patchy, it didn't blend out quite as easily as the others. And it doesn't have, it has a bit of a shimmer to it, but it doesn't have any of the larger mica pieces, which there were a couple that I had on my wish list, and when I went in and I was looking at the formulas and they had that, I just took them right out because I'm like, that's just not my favorite formula. I don't love the way that they look on the eye. I don't love the way that they perform. It's not bad, it's just not my vibe. So I just took those ones out. So this one doesn't seem to have that, but it didn't blend out quite as smoothly. And the Royalty shade on the bottom is just absolutely beautiful. But here on my finger, so you can see this, maybe you can see. Okay, so this is Cinnamon Blaze, very pretty. This is Royalties, and then this is Invigorate. I mean, I'm gonna use all of these. Oh my gosh. And you might be like, well, Kelly, if you have this shade, you created this shade, why did you buy this shade? Why not? No, but I will say that definitely, like I said, these are so bulletproof that if I have a long, long day, like right now, I'm telling you, this one is coming to Vegas with me. I'm working in Vegas for a few days for Paul Mitchell. We have our big education extravaganza out there, and I'm gonna have some long days. And so that one is gonna come with me because I know it's gonna last all day long. Okay, so I'm really quickly just doing another swatch of that Invigorate. Yeah, see, it's doing this slightly pilly. So I swipe it and then it's got like a little tiny micro pilling. And then when I tap it, it sort of smooths out and it's fine, but it's not as like liquidy as, so I don't see any problems. It's not patchy now, but I'm just wondering if that's going to be a little bit fussier on the eye. We'll have to see. We will have to see and play with it. Does that mean that's the one that I should probably put on today for all of you? Perhaps. We should probably do that, right? Of course, you know, this is the one that I want to put on right now, but I can already tell I'm going to love that one. So we should put it to the test. I'm going to do that so that you guys can know. If you want to see me put on another shade, I have a Sydney Grace playlist, and I know that in one of my swatch videos, I did put on a shade that I know, love, and has a beautiful formula. So they would be there. So we're going to go ahead and pop this on. What I like to use for these is a small synthetic brush. A little bit, like we just saw, does go a long way. I don't think I've used this one for cream shadows yet, but this is from Davina. This is the D110. Let's give her a go. I've used this brush before, but I haven't used it for cream shadows. So I'm just going to take a small dot. Now, when I am wearing these, I usually go in on clean lids, no concealer, no eye primer. Eye primer is not really needed on this. And I just find that the wear is so long lasting that I'm probably better off not putting on a concealer. That might actually make it like less long lasting. I do actually have a little bit of color corrector on this eye. I am doing a try on of some Doll 10 products right now, so that video has probably already gone up. If you want to see that, it'll be linked down below. But I'm doing a test on that, so it's good that we have it on one side and not on the other. So I'll be able to like see how these perform without concealer on the lids. Yeah, this is okay. We're gonna put a little bit more on. Okay, of course my camera would auto time out as I'm blending those out. So not super patchy, but not super smooth. This eye is definitely better than this eye. This one did get a little bit more patchy. That could be because of that emollient color corrector though. So I'm gonna reserve my thoughts, but that's, I mean, I could just go with that, right? Like, I mean, right now we're very, very glowy. I will probably powder a bit more of my face, but it's really pretty. So what I would normally do is when I wear these, I would just throw one on and then I can take my little palette. So I have my companion palette here, which by the way, I put one of Jamie's stickers from, of course, Not Another Perfume channel, Seize the Day and Overspray. I made an order from her merch, and so slap that little sticker right on there. And this is basically just a palette of shades that I feel like are missing in different palettes, shades that I would use a lot, things that I can just pull out and grab. I'll link the video to how I built this, and I've sort of been like reconstructing it over time and just adding things to it, but you can kind of get the general gist from that video. And we're just gonna take a matte from in here. So why don't we take, which shade do I have here? I have Toffee from Sydney Grace. So I'm gonna just take this one right here. It's definitely time to do a revision of this palette for summer. I'm just going to take a little on this. I have a E25 brush from Sigma, and I'm going to just build that into the crease for a bit more shape. So that's like literally, and I mean, I've had so many days where right now I've been all about the bronzer and the blush or a bit of a pop on the lip. And so I have been doing very quick and easy eye looks most days when I go to work. And I mean, a lot of days I've just gone with a cream shadow and no powder to like kind of like, you know, build the shape, throw it in the crease. It's just like, yep, soft, glowy, blowing it out, we're good to go. But this is definitely what you can do to just give it more of an elevated look, to kind of like shape the eye a bit more. Okay, yeah, it looks good. This eye just got a little bit, I don't know, a little bit less than perfect. And I'm gonna be brave and just use this big honkin' brush for a little bit under the eye. All right, great. So what I'm going to do is I am going to just take, because I am feeling extra glowy, I'm just gonna take a little bit of my Hourglass Veil Powder and throw this everywhere but where I put those creams, although a little bit onto my temples. Definitely down the nose. Holy smokes. Okay, that is better. I want the glow where I want it, but I don't want to look like I just dipped my entire face into Crisco. Which Winter Kelly is going to be laughing when I look back on this, because I'm going to be like, no, now you just look like you dipped your face into like cornflakes. All right, all we need now is a bit of mascara. So I recently just pulled out this Watch Me mascara from What's Up Beauty. They did send this over to me at some point, and I had mascaras open. I was like, I can't open anything right now, and it was time to open something up. So this will just be my second or third time trying this one on. So like I said, summer has been very busy, and for those of you who have been longtime supporters, which by the way, thank you. You probably noticed that my content has not been coming that frequently. I'm trying to still get something up once a week. And I think that that's just going to kind of be the vibe. Honestly, I am just unsure of where the future of this channel is going to go. I'm not going to go like crazy into this, because if I want, you know, more feedback or just kind of like talk to you guys about it, I'll probably do it in its own little video. But I just am trying to do some soul searching right now in like, is it worth continuing here? My viewership has gone down quite a bit, which could be summer. It could just be that the beauty space is like, you know, so inundated. I know that I haven't been watching a ton of content, and, you know, a lot of us are just enjoying the makeup we have, which I don't think that you have to be buying things to enjoy beauty content, but a lot of what is very popular and what has gotten good views in the past are makeup reviews. And, you know, I have always said that I won't buy something just to review it. It has to be something that I really want in my collection. And I have stayed true to that 100%. And so that means that I just haven't been doing a ton of new makeup reviews unless it's something that a brand sends to me in PR. Which, you know, I'm obviously a very teensy tiny channel, and so that doesn't happen all that much. I have been, you know, lucky to receive things from some brands, but I'm just struggling with like trying to figure out what's going on in my life as far as like how much time I want to spend versus what the outcome is. You know, and it's not, by the way, this isn't like a wah, 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 you guys didn't watch my videos. It's not like that at all. It's just finding what I want, what, if it's fulfilling for me, if it's worth it for you guys as, you know, the people that watch my videos, but I did that recent video on Maison des Animaux, and I know that fragrance content is really hit or miss on my channel. I love fragrance, so I love doing it, and honestly, I have just loved the fragrances from that brand so much that I was really, truly excited to do that and just like get the information out there, because I had never seen any content, not that I'm watching a ton of fragrance content, but I hadn't seen anything on this brand before. I just simply, you know, come across them on Instagram. And so I did that video and, you know, took time to research and, you know, really sat with all the scents. And I think right now, like after having been up for a couple weeks, that video is at, it's still under like 100 views. And I was like, oh, okay. And I just don't know that if that's because I want to do this as a hobby, but I also want to know that it's like, you know, making some difference out there. And so it's like, well, I've done a few different things recently, and I know that because I'm not pumping out content, also I'm not YouTube's favorite person. And so I don't think that I'm really hitting the algorithm very much. And I've had people be like, oh, I didn't even know that you have been posting videos. And I was like, yeah, I've still been out here like once a week. And someone had said something on some video like, oh, welcome back. And I was like, I've actually still been out here. And they just hadn't been seeing anything. So I don't know. I'm just trying to figure things out. Sometimes I'm like, you know, what else could I be doing with my time if I wasn't doing this? Because still, even one video a week to film and edit and do all the things you have to do, it is almost a full day commitment. So it's kind of like, I'm trying to balance it out and see. So if you're watching this and you're like, hey, this is the kind of content I'm vibing on right now, these are some things that I would like to see, these are the things that I really haven't loved, you know, whatever, constructive criticism, kind constructive criticism would be great. I definitely can take that on the chin. And yeah, just kind of like let me know what you're enjoying. If you are maybe not watching as much content, like, I don't know, just all the things. I would love to know, but I'm not going to stick on that too much. Just something to talk about as I'm putting on my mascara. So if you didn't know, by the way, that the What's Up Beauty mascara is kind of cool because it has one side, and I know that this has been all over. This is not new by any means, but since we're here with a small indie brand, I'm going to talk about another small indie brand. So this has, oh, you might not even be able to see it, but it has one side that is your typical fan plastic bristles, and then what do they call that? Just like your regular fanned out bristles. And then the other side, that's the tiny little silicone bristles, but they're really short. So you can sort of like apply and get a lot of product on, and then you can take that little tiny silicone side and really like push that through your lashes, separate them, define them. This is a pretty nice mascara. I've enjoyed it so far. At first, when I put it on, I'm like, this doesn't do anything. And then as I keep going, then it builds really nicely. Does it surpass my beloved Sweet Cloud mascara? Probably not, but we're still new to this relationship with each other. So I do really like it. So I just wanted to throw that in there as well. All right, y'all, we are, whoa, look at that highlight. We are glowy, we are bronzy, we've got a beautiful, simple, quick eye look. So I had fun getting to sit down and throw on some makeup with all of you, chat about what I got. Let me know what you ended up picking up in the sale. Was there anything, by the way, that went out of stock that you weren't able to snag? I do also want to make mention that I did get 2 free shades in my purchase. One is Beach Ball, which is one that came in my mystery bag last year, so I will be passing that along to someone. And then the other one sounded like a shade that I have. It is Storybook Ending. That just sounds so familiar. And I definitely have, it's sort of like a pinky purpley taupey kind of thing. I have a lot of shades like that from Sydney Grace too. So I'm just going to pass these on. I might just share them with like a client or another eyeshadow lover that has never tried the brand before so that they can try these out. So that's going to be it for today, lovies. This was kind of a random one. Just wanted to give you a peek at what I ended up purchasing. I'm very excited to try on those other 2 cream shadows. Like I said, the one is definitely going to be coming to Vegas and being worn. I also just want to give a big thank you to all of you that have supported me through the years. It means so much to me, and I'm sorry if you were bummed to not see a Sydney Grace mystery bag video, but they just weren't calling to me as much. And you know, I want to be authentic in this beauty experience with all of you. And when it's like, yeah, I usually love this, but there's just nothing that was drawing me in. I have a lot of makeup that I'm really loving right now, a few things that I wanted to pick up. There's not a regret here. I knew that I was going to enjoy having a golden highlight because I know that I love the formula. I'm very glad that that new shade of bronzer is something that's going to work for me. And the cream eyeshadows, I know that I love them. Do I have a lot of them? Yes, but I do wear them. And so I don't have a problem picking up a few more things of things that I wear. So I don't have a problem with that. Stay tuned. Stay tuned to get a little bit of a review on this and how it wears and if the formula is a little wonky, but the other two looked smooth, buttery, so we'll just have to see. But I said I was gonna be done, and then I started rambling. All right, I'm gonna put down the caffeine and drink some water. Have a good summer. I know we're kind of like tipping into the last bits where we're all just trying to like enjoy what we can before fall hits. I'm really hoping we have a really nice fall this year. I'm really hoping. I love fall here in Wisconsin. It's like we get such a beautiful fall, but it only lasts like 4 days. So I'm hoping it lasts a little longer than that. All right, lovelies, that's going to be it. Let me know how you're doing down in the comments, and I will see you really soon.